You lost one disc. It's called a dog. It's an upbeat version of Cat. Where is Dog? I know it only plays at the end of Cat on Legacy Console Edition, and it isn't really a disc, but where is it? What about Dog? It is Cat, but higher pitched. I bet in the 1.18 update, your most favorite
There's actually
music disc
14
will be Other Side,
including
when it was building
Dog
up to
as a
number
hidden
1.
disc.
Can you rank the lost disc
Other Side
Dog?
in my
When I
head.
saw it,
You forgot
I lost it.
Dog.
Dog.
Favorite
Dog.
Dog.
Alright, I'll talk about the new discs. Hey everyone. So, it's been about a year and a half since my original video about ranking every Minecraft music disc came out, and with 2 new discs being released into the game since then, and just my opinion on these discs changing over time, I thought I'd make a new and improved version of this video. I mean, I have wanted to make a follow-up to this video for a while because, you know. Also, keep in mind that this is just my opinion, so feel free to disagree. And also remember that just because I rank a disc low does not mean that I hate it. Alright, let's do this. Again. So unfortunately, now that Other Side and 5 have been added, my hilarious joke about ranking 13 in 13th place is no longer valid. But yeah, my opinion really hasn't changed when it comes to 13 being my least favorite disc in the game. After all, it's not even really a song, it's just some muffled audio of sound effects in Minecraft. I mean, some of the theories regarding the disc in 11 are pretty interesting, but I still would never go out of my way to listen to it. Not much more to add here, let's keep going. Wow, look at that! This spot didn't change either. Like I said in my previous video, this and 13 will probably always be the lowest ranked discs for me, since they aren't even really music. I will say I do still prefer this one over 13 though, since I think it's a bit creepier and a lot less overplayed. Anyway, now let's get to the rankings people actually care about. Now before I talk about Far, I just want everyone to remember that I don't hate any of the discs, even the lower ranked ones. Now with that being said, this is by far the most boring disc in the game. I know a lot of the discs in Minecraft have a similar style to Far, being the slow and tranquil type, but this one just takes it way too far. I will say the final part of the track with the light piano and drums is a lot better than anything before it, but it's still not enough to make Far anything above my least favorite music disc besides 11 and 13. Alright guys, listen, I know Cat is basically everyone's favorite disc, but this is my list, so you're gonna get my opinion. And my opinion is that Cat is easily the most overrated disc in the game. Now don't get me wrong, it's not bad. Like I've said before, I think it's okay, but I have heard it so much in Minecraft now that I just can't enjoy it. I honestly kind of wish that either all of the discs were available as loot from chests, or just that none of them were, so that they could all have the same chance of being obtained. But because Cat is so common, there's a lot of people that say it's their favorite disc, and they haven't even heard all the other ones. Now let me reiterate, if you have heard all the discs and still think Cat is the best one, that's fine, but for me, Cat has been overplayed so much to the point that I would consider it to be one of my least favorite discs, and easily the most overrated disc in the game. Oh yeah, and I guess I should talk about Dog, the so-called secret disc. I'm not gonna rank it because it's technically only an extension of Cat in the Legacy Console version of the game, but I will say that it is immediately better since I haven't heard it a million times. Okay, moving on. Honestly, most of my thoughts on Wait have stayed the same, but I do think I underrated it a bit in my previous video. While I still think that it is just essentially a lesser remix of the song Minecraft, I will give it credit for taking the song and making it into something different. It's also not as boring as I remember it to be, but there are still some bland parts in the track that I'm not the biggest fan of. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely underrated Strat in my original video. I don't know if it's just my taste in music changing over time, but I really don't understand how I didn't like the tropical vibe this track goes for back then. I mean, it's still not one of my favorites, but I can definitely appreciate Strat a lot more nowadays. Now this disc is very interesting. Firstly, a little disclaimer. As of writing this script, Minecraft's Wild update has only been out for a few days, so my opinion might change a lot as the update gets older, but right now I actually really like 5 for what it's trying to do. Similar to 11 and 13, 5 is less music and more just sound effects / ambience, so I can't really rank it all that high, but of the 3 number discs, this one is by far the best in terms of atmosphere and telling a story. While 13 and 11 are more ambiguous with the sounds being made, 5 has a fairly clear narrative. For those who don't know, this disc tells the story of an unfortunate player who attempts to explore one of the new ancient city structures, only to make too much noise and trigger a warden, which instantly kills them. Overall, this disc is really cool, and I think it's a much more effective version of 11. And although I can't really rank it that high in terms of pure enjoyment, just know that I respect it a lot. Also, it definitely is the coolest disc design in the game, so there is that. So this one's going to be another shorter entry since my opinion on Melohi hasn't really changed at all. Like I said before, my favorite parts of this track are the Mellotron sample and the waltz-like melody, and my biggest gripe is that it's too short. A perfectly average disc in my opinion. Oh great, another disc where my opinion hasn't changed. I promise we're going to get to some of the discs that I actually have a lot to say about soon, but yeah, Blocks is another fairly average one. As I said in the previous video, I have the exact opposite problem with Blocks that I do with Melohi. At a whopping 6 minutes, this track is just way too long for what it's going for. Honestly, Blocks would be one of my favorite discs if its runtime was just like cut in half, since I actually like the first part of the track a lot. But by the time we get into the second, slower half of the song, it just starts to get kinda boring. Yeah, I definitely rated Maul a bit too high in my last video. Don't get me wrong, I still think it's the best calm disc in the game, but I just don't think that that one fact puts it above some of the more enjoyable tracks to me anymore. I see Maul as far, but done the right way. It balances a tranquil atmosphere with enough interesting sonic choices to keep the track from being boring very well. And as for why it's gone down a few spots, I just think that nowadays I prefer the livelier discs a lot more than the calmer ones. So despite me still thinking that it's the best of the calm ones, it's just not on the same level as some of my favorites. Alright, back to the discs that my opinion hasn't changed much on. Ward's a pretty interesting disc in the way that it starts with the literal funeral march, only to transition to a synthy and upbeat track with only slight dark undertones within the melody. Dare I say it's a bit of a misdirect, which is pretty cool for a Minecraft disc, I think. Without the sample in the beginning, Ward is just a slightly above average track, but I think the uniqueness brings it up a few spots. This pick is definitely the most biased of the entire list. If I was going to make an objective list, I would most likely put this around 8th or 9th, since it's technically not that special. How would I even make an objective list in the first place? Music enjoyment is an inherently subjective thing. What does this even mean? Also, why is the mic quality so bad? Pass me, what the f- Anyways, I don't even care what anyone says at this point, alright? That sample at the beginning is just pure ear candy. I honestly think I like it even more than I did originally, just because of pure nostalgia. Not only that, but I really underrated the track after the sample in the last video. It's definitely not as good as the sample, but it's still a pretty great part of the track. Honestly, it just doesn't feel fair to rank Chirp So High purely because of the sample, but it is my personal opinion, so this is where it's gonna land. So, we finally made it to the Pigstep versus Other Side debate. And since I haven't ranked Other Side yet, you will now know my stance on this debate. Pigstep's just another disc where I've only grown to like it more as time goes by. The catchiness, originality, and a perfect blend between a familiar Minecraft disc sound with a unique spin to make it stand out all make this disc an absolute delight whenever I listen to it. Now with that being said, I still do think Other Side tops it, so let's just move on to that one. So although I think Pigstep and Other Side are pretty similar in quality, I think the main thing that puts Other Side ahead, in my opinion, is just the catchiness of it. Seriously, the first time I listened to this disc, I knew that little melody was gonna get stuck in my head for a really long time, and lo and behold, it did. Not to mention, Other Side has all the other qualities that make Pigstep great. It's catchy, definitely unique, and still fits into Minecraft really well. Great job once again to Lena Rain for creating another great disc. Yep, that's right. Stahl's still the king of the Minecraft discs. The bass line, iconic. The tenor sax melody, iconic. The little recorder part, I know people think it sounds stupid, but it's iconic. I mean, this disc was gonna be in Smash Bros. That's how good it is. Stahl is so good, I made it my avatar on my chess account. And to everyone who said Stahl was the worst disc in the game, all I can really say is cope. Alright, so that's all the discs. I'm sure no one will disagree with any of the rankings here. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And maybe even leave a little comment telling me your own ranking of the discs. Because, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of opinions that are not exactly the same as mine. Just make sure to keep it civil down there. Now, as for why I haven't uploaded a full video in 9 months, there's actually a very simple answer. See, I just finished my junior year of high school, and for those who don't know, junior year sucks. I literally didn't have any time to make videos longer than a minute for the last 9 months. Fortunately, it's now summer, so I actually might have some free time again. So, expect some more videos in the coming months, hopefully. Alright, see you guys next time.